Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
Now at 8 o'clock, Lexington police are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting. We'll have the details next.
Plus, a death investigation is underway in Madison County after deputies find a man dead inside his home.
And Lexington police are investigating 2 armed robberies overnight. These stories and more, plus breaking news as it happens, coming up on WKYT this morning. Good morning. We're working on breaking news here in Lexington. Police are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting. I'm Sean Moody.
And I'm Whitney Wetzel. We are gathering the developing details. Our Mark Barber will have a live report from the scene in just a few minutes. But first, let's check in with Mike Linden for a check of the weather. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Whitney. We are looking at yet another mild day out there today. But as far as the active weather goes, we're starting to see the beginning of it now with some rain over southern Kentucky, mainly over Pulaski, Casey, and Lincoln County. Russell County as well, catching some of those showers over the past 15 minutes or so. So if you have plans to be outside today, be sure to get it done earlier rather than later in the day, because we are watching this storm slowly tracking its way northward, which is set to bring us more heavy rain and wind as we head into the middle of our day today. I'm also tracking yet another system working its way into the region for Thanksgiving. I'll show you exactly what that should bring coming up in just a few minutes.
We are tracking breaking news this morning. We've confirmed that Lexington police are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting.
Police have not released any details just yet as to exactly what happened, but several cars were called to Ironworks Pike around 4:30 this morning. WKYT's Mark Barber is live at the intersection of Berea Road and Ironworks Pike with the latest. Mark?
Good morning, Sean and Whitney. Investigators say the officer-involved shooting happened outside this church on Berea Road. Now I'm going to step behind the camera now to give you a closer look at the scene that police are working at the moment. And we're going to start in front of the church with the truck that you see sitting here. Now, if you look very closely, you will notice there are 2 bullet holes on the driver's side of that windshield. Now, police are not saying at this point how this truck might be connected to this officer-involved shooting. And of course, that is something we are working to get more information on. Now I'm going to move the camera over here to the parking lot of the church, and I want to direct your attention to cones. You see these 3 cones right here in the parking lot. When I asked investigators where the shooting happened, they directed my attention right to these 3 cones. So as you can imagine, investigators are spending much of their time focused right here on this part of the parking lot. Now, investigators are not saying at this point when the shooting happened, but I'm told it happened at some point earlier this morning outside this church that is on Ironworks Pike and Berea Road. Now, police are not saying if the officer was the one who was shot or if the officer pulled the trigger, but I am told that the officer is okay. Now, at this time, investigators are not saying anything about who was shot, how badly they are hurt, what led to the shooting, and when it happened. Now, of course, you can see police are still out here working the scene right now. I'm told that there will be a media briefing later today, and that's where they hope to bring us more information. Of course, stay with us on our website, WKYT.com, and we will also keep you updated here on the next half hour of WKYT News at 8:30. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Thanks, Mark. Neighbors in Madison County want answers. Deputies are investigating after they found a man dead in a home. The sheriff's office tells us they found 35-year-old Scott Renfro dead inside a house on Carver's Ferry Road Saturday morning. Neighbors say Renfro was a good man and they want to know what happened to him. WKYT's Garrett Weimer is tracking the investigation.
You'll find a lot of unanswered questions here on Carver's Ferry Road.
I don't understand. It's just scary. You know, it is scary. Nobody knows what happened.
Now they're looking for answers after deputies found their neighbor Scott Renfro dead inside his home.
I cried because I feel so sorry for his mom and dad, because I have 2 kids, and I'm just like, how, it could be me.
A public affairs deputy with the Madison County Sheriff's Office won't say whether foul play is suspected or possible in this case, but he does say the investigation is ongoing. Edith Johnson knew Renfro since he was little.
I'll miss him a lot.
She says she'll miss the man who was always willing to reach out a helping hand to his neighbors.
He was a good guy, very helpful, had a really good sense of humor, and had a good heart. People need to remember that about him.
But those who knew Renfro now are forced to grapple with what they don't know, and that's what makes it even tougher.
I'm sure everybody wants closure. I just hope that his parents get closure. For their sake, I hope there's closure.
In Madison County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Deputies will only say the death is under further investigation. After spending weeks fighting for his life, a former Lexington mayor has died. 84-year-old H. Foster Pettit was fishing in October when his boat capsized in the Louisiana Delta. He cut his leg during that accident, and that cut caused a life-threatening bacterial infection. Pettit was Lexington's mayor from 1972 to 1978. Current mayor Jim Gray released a statement Saturday afternoon saying, quote, Foster had a spirit and enthusiasm and energy that was just so genuine. In fact, you could say his enthusiasm was highly contagious. He believed in Lexington and the goodness of its people, and he always rooted for his hometown.
New this morning, the Woodford County coroner says a person has died in a car accident early this morning. It happened around 3 o'clock on the Bluegrass Parkway. The coroner has not yet released that victim's name, but an autopsy is scheduled for later today.
Lexington police are searching for a driver who they say crashed into a utility pole and then ran away. Around 9 o'clock last night, they say someone crashed into a pole at the intersection of Old Richmond Road and Clover Creek. Crews say the driver lost control of the car, flipped it, and then landed on a fence. Witnesses said they saw the man get out of the car and walk away. About 130 customers were without power in that area. Power has since been restored. New this morning, Lexington police are investigating a pair of robberies overnight. Police say just before midnight, 4 men approached a man at the Raintree Apartments on Locust Hill Drive, took his phone, and then ran off. Authorities say one of the suspects started firing his gun as he was running. One of those shots hit an apartment building. Police are still investigating, but they don't have a good description of the suspects. Then just a few hours later, police got another armed robbery call. This one was on Bell Court. Police say 3 men, one of them armed, approached 4 people sitting on a porch and stole their cash and cell phones. Officers say they lost the trail of those suspects around Indiana Avenue. Witnesses said one of the men was wearing a green hoodie, but other than that, police said they didn't have much of a description.
It's 8:07 on WKYT this morning, and this is a story that we've been telling you about all week, and it's starting to grow in its number of victims. Siobhan Madden says 4 dogs, all boxers, have been stolen from Sweetwater Road in Rockcastle County over the last 6 months. Tuesday, we reported that 7 dogs were believed to have been stolen in Garrett County. Just days later, owners in Pulaski County then opened up about similar situations. Madden saw our reports earlier this week and realized it sounded all too familiar. Now she's left wondering why so many of the same dogs are being taken.
It just seems like they were focusing on boxers. They're sweet dogs to deal with, so they're easily manageable. And the only things I can think of is for breeding, selling, or fighting. You know, it's the only things I can imagine.
Now, some people have made a Facebook group to help find those missing dogs.
We're tracking a developing story here in Lexington this morning. Crews are on the scene of a fire at a car wash on New Circle Road. Fire officials tell us they got that call around 6:45 this morning after several drivers reported seeing smoke and flames coming from the Premier Car Wash. When firefighters got there, we're told flames were shooting through the roof of the building. New Circle Road is shut down right now between Broadway and Russell Cave because of a hose running across the road. Fire officials tell us they hope to have that open soon.
Well, if you are heading out of town for Thanksgiving, expect to see a lot more cars on the road next weekend. Kentucky State Police say Thanksgiving is one of the busiest holidays for drivers. Police are urging drivers to pay extra attention when traveling this week. According to AAA, the volume of drivers on the roads from Wednesday through Sunday will be the highest since 2007. State troopers also say drivers should get themselves some extra time to get to their destinations because of this expected traffic congestion.
I would recommend to leave early. If you need to be somewhere, I would recommend leaving earlier, a half hour to an hour earlier than you think you need to leave just because of traffic congestion.
AAA estimates Thanksgiving trips this year will take more than 25% longer than a typical weekday trip. He says his coach helped him when he needed it most, and now a 9-year-old boy from Boyle County is returning the favor. Last weekend, assistant youth football coach Dale Shepperson was seriously injured in a farming accident. He lost a leg and now has to pay thousands of dollars in medical bills. Yesterday, some of Shepperson's players helped him raise money for a prosthetic leg. The team raised over $3,000 just washing cars. Coach Matthew Bottom says Shepperson taught those kids to give back.
We're teaching them not just the game of football, but we're also teaching them the game of life. And it's tremendous to see that they can equate that into real life, and then they can turn it around and give back to others. That's the ultimate goal, is for them to be able to turn around and give it back to somebody else.
And for more information on how to donate online, just go to WKYT.com.